Hellbent. From cultures who made volcanic sacrifices to dreaded supervolcanoes, we count 15 incredible facts about volcanoes. Number 15. Active volcanoes. There are at least 1,500 active volcanoes in the world right now above sea level. No one knows how many are underwater, but experts estimate at least 1 million. Every day, between 10 and 20 volcanoes spew their delicious magma goodness somewhere on the Earth's surface. Well, you know, not counting classroom volcano models which erupt when bicarb food dye and vinegar meet. But hey, if a kid makes one that actually erupts in magma, they should probably bump them up a grade or two after they put out the fire and count the death toll and all that. But you know, good job, A+. But what would happen if all these 1,500 volcanoes erupted at once? One geologist says the effects of a synchronized blast would trigger an environmental domino chain more powerful than a nuclear winter. But don't worry, scientists think the chance of every volcano on the planet erupting at once is unlikely. I mean, they're pretty sure about this, you know, like 70%. Don't worry about it. Number 14. Volcanic sunsets. If your partner likes romantic sunsets, bring them to the site of an erupting volcano. During a volcanic eruption, the sunlight needs to travel through gas and fine ash particles. This scatters the sun rays at the spectrum's red end, giving the sunset a more vibrant reddish appearance. This phenomenon occurred in 2008 during the eruption of Alaska's Kasatochi volcano. People all over the world were treated to sunsets with unusually beautiful orange and coral hues. However, stopping to admire this visual phenomenon is not recommended if you're anywhere near the volcano's danger zone. Come on, it's not called the stop and stare zone, it's called the danger zone, so unless you're Kenny Loggins, I'd try to avoid it. Number 13. Pacific Ring of Fire. Our whole world is threatened by something called the Pacific Ring of Fire, a string of volcanoes dotted around the Pacific Ocean's perimeter. In this area, several tectonic plates move beneath each other, causing some of the world's deadliest eruptions. Within the Pacific Ring of Fire, there are 452 volcanoes. This encompasses 75% of the world's total dormant and active volcanoes above sea level. Not somewhere you want a vacation. Was this what Johnny Cash was singing about all these years? Probably not. Considering how hot magma gets, you would be turned into a flaming skeleton before you could even touch the magma. So I guess the song would be more like, I fell near a burning ring of fire. It evaporated my skin before I even got 5 feet near it. Doesn't really rhyme as well. Number 12. Volcano deities. In many cultures, volcanoes are associated with divinity. You got the Vulcan, no, not the Australian gladiator, the Roman blacksmith of the gods whose forge was said to be on the volcanic island of Volcano. And before you start bitching about enunciation, it's volcano with a U, so Volcano. I think that's what makes the Aztecs so cool. Everything that they have is so hard to pronounce. Anyhow, the Aztecs of Mexico once sacrificed beautiful girls to powerful gods they believed lived in lava lakes. The badass psychopathic Aztec Empire honored the massive twin volcanoes, oh god, Ixtaccíhuatl and Popocatépetl. Yeah, let me know if I got those right. Anyways, they honored those volcanoes by building statues with human faces to worship. They revered these statues in the way that most cultures revere kings or holy men. This practice carries on even today. So, yeah, you know, Aztecs out there, please don't throw me into a volcano for fucking up your enunciations. I don't think any gods want me hanging around, so throw me into a volcano might have negative repercussions. You might set off the ring of fire. Finally, Pele is a Hawaiian deity of fire and volcanoes. This fiery-tempered goddess lives in the crater of the Kailua volcano and throws lava at people who piss her off. Now that's a volcano god I could get behind. No bullshit, no worship, just don't piss me off or I'm gonna throw fucking magma at your face. Number 11. Top 3 countries for active volcanoes. The United States has the 3rd most active volcanoes in the world. It has 65, including the formidable Mount St. Helens. 12 of these are considered high alert and have to be monitored regularly, and 2 of these are scheduled to erupt imminently. Hell, for all science knows, you might not even make it to the end of this countdown before getting a magma shower. Japan takes a silver medal with 110 active volcanoes. That's right, the tiny island isn't just home to Godzilla, it houses a whopping 10% of the world's active volcanoes. Indonesia ranks number 1 for the most active volcanoes throughout history. It has 130 of the damn things, so if you're an aspiring international villain, this is where you want to set up your secret lair. Number 10. Most active volcano. Remember Hawaii's Kailua? You know, the volcano that's also a hot-tempered goddess. Well, if you squint anyways. Well, this volcano, which makes up the entire southeastern side of the big island of Hawaii, is the most active in the world. It's had an explosive 61 recorded eruptions in its current cycle, and like the volcanic equivalent of multiple orgasms, has been continuously erupting since 1983. Well, maybe orgasm's the wrong word, since these eruptions have destroyed more than 200 structures. You know, if I was shooting fire out of my holes and obliterating entire cities, I'd probably go see a doctor about that. Maybe I shouldn't talk shit though, cause Pele or Peely or whatever the fuck you want to call it might blow up my house. At least I got insurance. Hey yeah, Peely, fuck my house up. I could use that payment right now. You know, move to a place that isn't surrounded by stupid asshole volcanoes. Number 9. Safe Zone. Speaking of places without volcanoes, most volcanoes develop near the edges of tectonic plates, which are the massive rock slabs that make up the Earth's surface. There are no active volcanoes in Australia because it's situated in the middle of a tectonic plate. Oi, you're safe here, so come on over, mate. We'll chuck the bobby on. Didgeridoo and kangaroos too. Nailed it. They'll never know I'm an American. Can I get some Vegemite for my hamburger? Fuck. Look, I was just trying to get somewhere safe, and what are you doing with those dingoes? No, no, not the dingoes! Ah! Dingoes! Number 8. Acid Lake. In Indonesia's Kawah Ijen, an acid lake is formed in a volcanic crater. The lake is so toxic it can instantly burn through human flesh. It formed after absorbing the volcano's gases and has an extremely high sulfur concentration. The lake's water's pH level is 0.5, making its contents essentially battery acid. This badass lake can eat away almost anything, even metal, and its fumes are lethal, so make sure to bring a gas mask if you want to go sunbathing near the acid lake. Though I wouldn't recommend that either. Volcanic eruptions here are particularly dangerous because they cause a shower of acid rain. And if that weren't enough, the draining of the acid also causes deadly mudslides. So I don't think any kind of protective gear is really going to help you out here. Number 7. Olympus Mons. Want to know where the largest volcano in our solar system is? Nope, it's not in your pants. It's on our favorite red planet, Mars. Olympus Mons has a staggering height of 25 kilometers. That's almost 3 times the height of Mount Everest. So, you know, good luck climbing that shit. Number 6. Pumice Rock. Pumice is a form of volcanic rock that can float in water. These volcanic stones are gray and full of small bubbly holes that form in hot gas jets out of a cooling rock. Just as nature intended, people use pumice stones to remove dead skin, stubborn dirt, and calluses. Also, crushed pumice is often used in exfoliants. Pumice is also an important part of our construction industry. It's crafted into breezer or cement blocks, which are stronger and lighter than red bricks and are often used in important weight-bearing walls. See, volcanoes aren't just burning magma death in acid lakes. If it weren't for them, we'd still be flinging poo and living in mud huts. Number 5. Mount Vesuvius is the only active volcano in mainland Europe, and it's one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world. In 79 AD, Vesuvius erupted violently, devastating the towns of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Records from eyewitnesses, evacuations, and preserved remains tell the horrific story of the eruption. The massive eruption submerged the towns beneath layers of volcanic material and mud, killing thousands. Explorers had discovered that the volcanic ash had preserved the site, keeping many of the buildings and skeletons eerily intact. What a well-organized disaster. You know, most disasters like earthquakes or tornadoes just tear everything apart, but this one has class. It just left everything as it was, just dead. Number 4. Climate change. In the short term, volcanoes affect the environment by raining fire and releasing rivers of magma. However, not many know that volcanic eruptions could also be a leading influence on climate change. Eruptions are thought to cause ozone, greenhouse, and haze effects. Volcanic activity releases acid that destroys ozone and releases large amounts of carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, and ash. Over the past 400 years, nearly 250,000 people have died in volcanic eruptions, but 3 times as many are thought to have died because of indirect after effects like famine, climate change, and disease. As a scary example, the gas and particles released into the atmosphere during the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo reduced global temperatures by about 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit during the following year. Man, I don't know which one's worse. Dying from hot searing magma or dying of starvation. Number 3. The maleo is an endangered species of bird that depends on volcanoes to survive. This strange creature uses geothermal energy to incubate its eggs, which is basically the heat emitted by warm volcanic sand. Its tiny frame can't incubate its enormous eggs, which are roughly 5 times the size of a chicken, so it seeks out exposed volcanic areas during nesting season. The hatched chicks burrow their way to the surface of the sand and the cycle begins again. Number 2. Screaming Volcano. In 2009, Alaska's Redoubt volcano did something that no volcano had done before. It let out a blood-curdling scream shortly before erupting. The scream sounded like the deep, ominous roar of a giant monster, like Bigfoot stubbing his toe, then it rose to a high-pitched, terrifying crescendo. Experts aren't sure what caused this terrifying phenomenon. They have theories about gases and tectonic strain, but I think it was Mother Nature telling us to get the hell off her planet. Number 1. Supervolcanoes are the most formidable volcanoes in the world. Supervolcanic eruptions rain hellfire across thousands of miles and release tons of ash particles into the atmosphere. They're so powerful they cause worldwide climatic changes like drops in global temperature. Some theorize these things could bring about the end of the world, so it's fortunate they only erupt every few 100,000 years. One of the largest supervolcanoes is in Yellowstone National Park. Its last 3 eruptions were 2 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 640,000 years ago. Following this pattern, experts believe another eruption could be due any day now. Shit, anybody hear that rumbling sound? Oh god, it's the dingoes again! No, not the dingoes! Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.